Justice for Ivana, Trump being haunted by women that have passed over, a deportation backlash, and where do we go from here? Let's look into that. Welcome to Scrying Out Loud. My name is Trevor. Let's first start with the deportations that have been reported in the news that are being planned. So it's being reported that they're going to start doing raids in Chicago and various other cities. And I had gotten an image of this happening, and it was quite dramatic. But the reaction to it also seemed like it was going to be pretty swift and not exactly what I think Republicans think is going to happen. I think there's a lot of people in the country that maybe don't have documentation that people just don't realize are their neighbors and their friends and stuff like that. So let's first look at that. Will there be a swift and big backlash to any attempts at mass deportations? Will there be a swift backlash to any attempts at mass deportations? Yes, I've seen the Ten of Cups, which is the family and reunions card. Um, and I think, especially mixed status families, that um, once things start happening in those arenas, for example, if parents have kids, the kids are citizens, but the parents aren't here documented, I think that's going to have an immediate reaction. So things are going to happen quick. Um, and I think the reaction will also be rather quick as well. So we get the Knight of Swords. And then we get the Four of Pentacles as the challenge. So this is the Miser card. We also get the image of death there, which always seems to come up when things are being talked about Trump. But I think the challenge to their plan is that people like stability. And if all of a sudden chaos is thrown in at their workplace and they just weren't expecting it because they didn't realize that there were people there that perhaps aren't documented, I think there'll be a pretty quick reaction. We have juggling money in particular overseas. Um, and then we have the Five of Cups in the past. This is the loss card. And of course, the loss is what happened, on Inauguration Day, if you want, or just the election in general. Um, Cutting the reading, though, we have the High Priestess. This is the dark energy, and almost was like, you know, people pointed out the dark Brandon, Joe Biden, the B and the J on this card several times to me. And it's almost like Democrats are ready to work the behind the scenes action if these deportations do in fact go forward. Um, in the near term outcome, we have the Knight of Cups. This is a message coming forward. And I think this message is coming forward from the people saying, hey, you know, we didn't really think you were going to go through with this, and we didn't really vote for that. And then the Ten of Wands comes up, which is heavy burdens and the realization that this plan isn't what the people want. We have the devil energy, though, so they might go forward with it even if people don't want it to go forward. This is toxicity, addictions, evilness, if you wish. So that's the energy that is in the environment around is this devil energy. The hopes and fears is that we just get a new start. Um, a new administration, a new beginning. I think that's what a lot of people want, although so many of us did not vote for that. Um, but I think, if you look at the electorate as a whole, people would like things just to kind of move forward, progress to be made, and there not to be this chaotic devil energy and this kind of greedy, you know, money feeling. Like I think people want calm and security. They want the stability. Um, and the outcome card is the magician, which is a yes card, and judgment. So there's going to be, a lot of manifesting, and there's going to be judgment around any actions they take with respect to that. But they're going to try to get away with it anyhow. But like I've always pointed out, when the Seven of Swords in this deck comes up, the trap is being set for the thief. So whether they get away with it or not is a different story, but they're going to try it. We do get a new start. We get influence from Russia, and we get the tower. So things are going to happen. Um, it's going to be explosive. It's not going to go the way they think. So um, anyhow, I think the plans for the deportations are going to turn out to be one of the undoings of this administration. Okay, so as I was spending the weekend, so I'm recording this on Sunday, January 19th. It's Edgar Allan Poe's birthday. A friend of ours had us over for lunch, who's a literature professor, and uh, served some interesting Edgar Allan Poe themed dishes. It was kind of fun. But I've had this kind of feeling when I've been meditating that there are these female energies around Trump, but they feel like they're not uh, in this living realm, that they've passed over. So the first obvious female energy that comes to mind is Ivana, and several people asked whether that's maybe why I saw Ivanka doing a deposition. Was that in relationship to Ivana? So let's just ask the question, is there going to be justice for Ivana? Now, justice can take many shapes and forms. It doesn't necessarily mean that it involves courts, right? Karmic justice, so to speak. So let's just ask that question. Will Ivana Trump get justice for the way she was treated in life and for entertainment purposes only, possibly the way she died? So I can see Ivanka again giving that deposition. So for this time, she's wearing a different colored suit. So that's interesting. And the first one, she was wearing kind of a gray suit. And in this one, she's wearing more of a navy colored suit. So maybe she'll be asked to talk more than once. Um, Also getting the high priestess again, which is interesting. Maybe Ivana's the high priestess when it's been popping up. So will Ivana get justice? Sure feels like we will, but it'll be like a karmic justice. It won't be like some sort of trial. I don't see that. I don't think there'll ever be charges around her death. I've never seen that. I've never read on it here on YouTube, but I've read on it, years ago. I never saw that then. So we're at a crossroads. So it's a little bit up in the air on whether it'll happen. We get the Six of Cups as the challenge, the giving and receiving of money. There might be some paper trails there that lead to some of the misdeeds that have been done to her in the past. We get the Queen of Cups. I feel like this is her um, in his subconscious. And then we get circles of support and celebration, but that's in the past. Crowning the reading, we get bombshells and revelation. So, yeah, I think things might come out that, you know, she really wasn't treated well at the end. And there might even be some more questions about exactly how she died. Um, I don't see any like charges or anything coming forward, but you never know. We do get the Five of Wands in the near-term outcome, so there's going to be fighting. To me, this feels like the fighting is about keeping news suppressed by trying to use the bully pulpit that he'll have to keep the media from covering these things. I don't think it'll work. Um, he has a lot of anxiety about wondering whether any of these things will come out. Um, and we get loss. So I think she's tormenting him in the after realm. And I don't think she's necessarily the only one. Um, we get the Nine of Wands and the hopes and fears. He's trying to fight off this attack um, from her, but he doesn't really understand anything spiritual, so he doesn't know what that exactly means. I think I think he's just kind of confused about. I feel like things are happening in his day-to-day life that are, like when you kind of you misplace a notebook and you think, well, did I really put it there? And you're not quite sure whether you really did. I think things like that is that are happening in his life, and I think he feels that that's Ivana like tormenting him. Um, he's blinded and he doesn't know what to do. The choices, and we get the Five of Swords, which is wounded in battle, so he's very hurt by whatever's going on in that relationship between him and her now that she's passed. And we get the Knight of Cups. So a message is going to be coming forward. I think we're going to get some interesting news or at least more speculation about this. We did the Ten of Pentacles. I find this is kind of a clarifying card, just saying that we're on the right track. This is the card about inheritance and money, and I think she was mistreated with respect to that. We get apathy and loss again, and we get fiery energy, and who knows what might happen. We do get the Hierophant, which is about the courts, the church, um, things spiritual, so to speak. So I do think she'll get justice. What that looks like is probably up to her and not up to the courts or anything, but you never know. I mean, things happen. So, okay. Uh, moving on, so it seems like there's more than just one woman that's tormenting him, kind of from beyond. That's kind of the what I've gotten over the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 days meditating and yeah, it's like I think his mother still plays a very big role in influencing the way that he approaches life, which isn't very healthy. So let's see, how can we phrase this question? Um, so I can see an image of his mother and his late sister, who was a judge. Is Donald Trump being haunted by women that have passed over? Now, these might not actually be spiritual hauntings. These can just be memories of, not being treated well. For example, if, sometimes we remember things people say to us years later and they kind of have a barb to them. It's kind of like he feels that way. He feels like I have this feeling of disappointment, which I think is he feels that he's been a disappointment to many people, his mother in particular is what I'm getting. But See, that could have been what that Empress card was about too. Um, so we get the Knight of Pentacles. So some messages are being received. The challenge is the Five of Cups. This feeling of being like he's being drugged down into this um, pit of despair. So I think this is weighing really heavy on him. We do get the Seven of Pentacles, which is about planting seeds. Somebody might have said something to him about, oh, your mother said so and so when you were younger. Do you remember that? And now he can't get it out of his head because it's in the subconscious, right? Like those circles that we sometimes have arguments with other people in our own head, you know? It's kind of like that loop. Um, we do get the Two of Pentacles in the past. This is about juggling money, but it's in the past, which makes me think it's maybe about his inheritance. We get the Queen of Swords, which is about steady leadership. It's a matriarchal figure as well. So it could be his mother, it could be his sister. And yet again, the Five of Wands, I think this is in the same position in the very last reading that we just did. In the near term outcome, this battle, but I think it's an internal battle. It's like trying to fend off these demons of hearing, you're not good enough, you'll never be good enough. These kind of words like echoing in his head. I mean, I think he suffers quite a bit karmically, which does not justify any of the things he does um, at all. We do get the Ace of Cups, and he's hoping for a new start. Um, we get wish fulfillment, which is interesting. To me, this almost feels like this will stop when he stops existing. That's what it feels like. We do get the truth in the hopes and fears. I think that's a fear for him. He fears anything true. We get the moon card. So there's a lot of things under the surface. And it's interesting, this depiction, that it's a woman under the surface staring up, right? Which, like when the ritual of burying somebody, they're under the ground staring up, right? Is generally how we bury people. That's the image I'm getting, which kind of reminds me a little bit of Ivana. I don't know if his mother was buried and his sister. I assume they probably were, but um, yeah, we get the Ten of Swords again with respect to him. This is like complete and utter downfall. It could be the end of a dark cycle, or it could be like also like the zenith of the dark cycle before it ends, uh, which is interesting. And then, yeah, he's got a lot of torment going on over these women in his life that have passed over. With the Three of Swords, which is about heartache, agony, anguish, these type of emotions. We have strong females underneath, which makes a lot of sense, waiting for one ship to come in. And how about that? Here's the Empress card. I don't think this is Russia in this case. I think this is his mother. The Empress is often the mother, right? So I do think his mother weighs on him quite heavily, maybe his sister as well, and Ivana, and who knows who else, right? He's wronged so many people over the years. There might be more. Okay, so the inauguration has happened by the time I've posted this video. And I think we need to ask ourselves, how do we go forward from here? And what is the proper way to resist or be part of the resistance? And let's ask that question. So I'm getting the image of a school, maybe a university. I think education, um, not being silent is what I'm. Yeah, let's see if we can pull some more images. Yeah, I'm getting, the image of like, I forget what that movie was, but the woman's being held hostage. She's pulling the gag out of her mouth. It's like, don't be silent. And I'm getting that image of the university or looks like a university, um, which is about education. So not letting lice go by unanswered, I think maybe is one way we move forward. Um, Also not watching propaganda is another thing I just heard. Don't support the propaganda. So this is the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. Let's just pull a few cards to see if we can't get some messages on how we should proceed. There's two cards here. Um, we get shapeshifter, so transform and unveil your gifts. So use your own intuition on how to proceed forward. If that means you need to take some time to grieve, take some time to grieve. If you're ready to shift into the resistance mode, go ahead and do that. The universe has got that energy for us to use to become the resistance now. That energy is there for us. Uh, we get medicine guardian, be open to healing information. So I think what that the universe is saying there is just be open to other suggestions on how to be part of the resistance. Um, it doesn't necessarily always need to be political. It might be just, I'm getting, like, it might just be a matter of being frank and honest about your life experiences with others because they might not realize it. For example, I have a lot of friends that are, naturalized citizens, for example. Um, and they're very frightened about what's going on. Um, and their experience is powerful because the view of this administration from an immigrant standpoint is very different than it is from somebody like myself who was born in the United States. So I think that's what that's about. And then lastly, we get the traveler move in a new direction. So I think we have to find a way to move on, resist, limit the damage done. And I think we have to do that as a collective. I don't think that it's something that can be accomplished by one or two people. I think it has to be a collective. But I also think that it's going to happen via individual conversations. So that's the messages I'm receiving. I hope that helps. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll be back with another video soon. Thanks, everyone.